God damn it. God, I can't believe they're fucking making me do all of this stuff. Let me get over here and let me try and get a hold of... Oh, what the hell? Hey, Kane. Kane. You. Hey. Hey.
Saint?
Yeah. Did you get
the
message?
What are you doing here? What message? I'm on vacation, dude. You told me I was on vacation this week.
We got to do the podcast, man. We've got. I talked it over with my agent. It's a contractual obligation. We've got to do the podcast this week. We're already a week late. We were a week late last time.
You told me that these pay-per-views were such a rage quit that I could go on vacation. You promised me one vacation every 7 years, and this is my vacation now.
It's not me. It's the freaking agent. He's the same guy who made me watch freaking Kindred the Embraced. Look, you've got to do... I know I told you it was on vacation. It's not my fault. It's not like sitting there or anything like that. It's... Dude.
Vacation time. I only get one time. I don't want to go and do the podcast.
I know.
Do the podcast. I want to do the podcast. I want to do the podcast. I don't want to do the podcast. I don't want to do the podcast.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Why do I do the podcast? Why do I do the podcast?
Because we have to. Because it is what it is.
Hold on. I got a message. Wait for you. All right. I'll do the podcast. Trish Stratus told me I have to do the podcast because she's not going to have anything to listen to when she does her things on a weekend. So
wait, whoa, what? Trish How do you know these people?
Listen, we got to do the podcast. I ain't going to disappoint Trish.
No. This is important. Nope, this is important. We need to know how you know these people.
Later, because right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am your boy, Kane Super Hot Snooker, and that is Comedy the Faded Saints, and you're at Off the Ropes! Thank you for Off the Ropes. I am your man, Kane Super Hot Snooker, as the intro has already said, and my man over there from Nolans, Comedy the Faded Saint. Whew! Well, as you already know, there was some vacation time I was promised, but you know what? I'm going to hold back the reins. I'm going to dismiss all the stuff that I just mentioned now because we need to focus on the two pay-per-views that just happened, which was Money in the Bank and...
Extreme
Now,
Rules.
sometimes... Hey.
I
don't even want to call it Extreme Rules. I want to call it Meals on Wheels with weapons, because there's just nothing that
it was really like unnecessary rules, wasn't it?
Yeah. I would call it Vince Russo's special. I'm telling you. So I know I don't want to joke about this because he's a great man, but I feel like somebody backstage gave Pat Patterson a stroke. And he's like, let's bring back Vince Russo and wait, let's make a fucking pay-per-view named after a song from like 1960, like 1980 something, or even, I don't even know when Great Balls of Fire came out. That's just how ridiculous this is. But you know what? That's a future pay-per-view that's coming up. Right now we want to focus on Extreme Rules or somewhat rules, any rules. Just give me some rules, pay-per-view. And Money in the Bank. That's it, man. How are you feeling about it right now?
Oh, God. We really didn't want to do this. There was a real conversation. Like, all joking aside, there was a real conversation about us just skipping these pay-per-views and doing like a 2-minute video, which was just us saying that we hate it. But we love you guys, and even if we hate it, we're going to tell you why. And that brings us straight into Extreme Rules. And it's like we pretty much have been saying throughout the intro. it was anything but extreme. There were some unnecessary rules in this freaking thing. I don't know really what to say. First of all, there was a pre-cook match, which I completely forget what it was, but they didn't announce it. It didn't have a graphic, so we're not covering it. And that brings us directly into the first match of the night, which was your reigning defending champion, Dean Ambrose, versus The Miz. If Dean gets himself disqualified, he loses the Intercontinental Championship.
Can I just say something right now?
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I've been saying this for a while. I actually said this before. He got really hot with being a heel. But The Miz just knows how to be a really good heel. I felt like this particular match where if Dean Ambrose disqualifies himself, he wins the IC title. And I feel like that was just like the juiciest upper hand a heel could ever deliver for a match to be offered for a title. It worked so much better than when Triple H and RKO did it at Mania. I think it was 27, where they did the same situation, but it was unpronounced. Like everyone just wanted Triple H to beat the holy hell out of Randy Orton, but this just delivered well. And I felt like this was like one of those matches where I as much as the match was stupid, I actually appreciate the heel type of arc that was going on for this match. We have a whole pay-per-view to discuss. Damn. Can you at least tell me which one you're drinking?
I am drinking New Belgium Juicy Watermelon. It's a watermelon lime ale. I have 2 beers tonight. The New Belgium Juicy Watermelon is by far the lightest of them because the other one is a barley wine, and I'm saving that for Money in the Bank.
Man. And that I don't know.
This is gonna get bad. This is gonna get so bad.
Well, let's talk about the good points.
But I mean, this was a great match. I agree with you. This was a really great match. The Miz is on fire. I said it. I don't know why, but they don't book Dean well with titles. And The Miz does far more for the Intercontinental title than Dean Ambrose does. It's unfortunate because I'm a Dean Ambrose fan, but it is a bona fide fact. That being said, I think this match would have worked on any other pay-per-view except the one called Extreme Rules.
Yes.
I mean, that's just why? And I mean, it was a good match. They faked you out with the finish, like he was going to get disqualified, and then Miz rolled him up to get the title. It was a great fake out, but it's the name of the pay-per-view is Extreme Rules. If you're not going to have some kind of extreme rule, then what's the purpose of it?
And this is like the overall arc, by the way, too. It's not even just like one thing or another. It's like there's like very, very little extreme in any of the matches that we're going to talk about for this pay-per-view, too.
Oh my God.
And I know that a lot of our audience reads and watches this stuff before they get to us, so we're really just going to discuss our opinion of these matches more than anything.
Yeah, totally.
I have to say, the slope goes downhill for most of Raw's pay-per-view after this match.
Well, it goes down for the next 2 matches, and then we hit a peak. But let's talk about the next match here, which is Rich Swann, whom I hate, and I hope catches on fire tonight, any night, and Sasha Banks for reasons, against Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. Yeah.
Crickets. Crickets everywhere.
This match.
Poor Sasha.
This match was Sasha and Alicia flailing around on the outside, and Rich Swann getting a cheap win on Noam Dar, who
Alicia Fox. I mean, she did wrestle a little bit, but I feel like Sasha was William Regal, and Alicia Fox was Goldberg, and they told Sasha Banks, "Hey, you need to work a match with Alicia Fox for longer than 5 minutes."
Alicia can wrestle. Alicia can. They just did not gel very well in this match, and it just blows my mind that the Scottish Supernova Noam Dar is just in this puppy love dominated by Alicia Fox angle, when the guy is one of the premier athletes was one of the premier athletes coming over from the UK and getting a contract here.
Listen,
like, how are the?
If you have to find an angle just to make it in the business, I'm all for taking it. Tell you the truth, it's just so unfortunate that it's this angle.
I don't blame him. I don't blame any of the wrestlers for anything that we're about to rip apart tonight. But it's baffling to me how you can take this good of a wrestler, one of many who could make your 205 Live actually watchable.
Well, and honestly, I think the real victim was Sasha Banks.
Yeah,
I think that was the real victim. A hard developed women's champion got stuck with 205 Live match for the pay-per-view, while the women's match had to go deal with some bullshit.
No,
which we'll definitely talk.
No, that's where we're about to get about, because there's nothing else to talk about this match. Which one wins? It really was. It was a god awful match, and that brought us to this match.
Okay,
this goddamn fucking match, and you know what match I'm talking about.
This was the ghost of Vince Russo's career at large. Who the hell does it on a pole match anymore? When? You know what? I had a blackout with WB for a while between like 2005 to 2011.
Oh, me too.
Can you tell me when the last time you had it on a freaking pole match?
I can.
Was there even one in the WWE?
Yes.
What?
It was a Dominic on a pole match.
What?
Yes, it was custody papers on a. It was custody papers.
Ladder match. The custody papers were above them.
Nope, it was billed as a custody papers on a pole match. It was Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, and this was, of course, we're talking about the kendo stick on a pole match. Alexa Bliss, your champion, versus Bayley, and they never made these rules clear. Or no, I take that back. They made these rules clear, and then they broke them, which becomes a very real theme across the matches tonight.
Yes. So the rule was, which was intriguing if they kept to the goddamn script on that one, is that if whoever grabbed the kendo stick from the pole had free rights to use it without being disqualified. That is what was explained to us a couple of Raws ago on the worst segment ever called Bayley, This Is Your Life. Now, as far as it goes...
Poor Alexa. Poor Alexa.
Hey, listen, she's a good work. She is a good work. She knows what to do. She's fantastic on the mic. Don't blame the writing. Do not blame. Well, blame the writing. Don't blame.
No, I'm blaming the writing. I'm saying poor Alexa because she just went out there and did what she was told.
Hey, listen, she still worked it though. She was not the boring part of that whole thing. The thing that killed me was we're getting off topic here. We're gonna go back to the kendo stick match.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the match itself.
So she grabs so Bayley grabs the goddamn kendo stick, and now has free carte blanche to use the damn thing. But as soon as she drops it, guess who gets to pick it up? Miss frickin' Alexa Bliss. Now, I love Alexa Bliss. I know what she can do with a kendo stick. She's been doing it for a few weeks now. But the moment she struck Bayley, that rule should have applied for no DQ. I guess that's the only good thing. I guess the upside about this is if that was true, then Alexa had the upper hand both ways.
But then think about it. They made such a big deal out of, does Bayley have the killer instinct? Can Bayley, actually swing the kendo stick and hurt somebody? Is Bayley hardcore? And then she wasn't. They just didn't pay it out. And then to make matters worse, she had that really bizarre interview the next night on Raw where she was like, she came up like a kid. She was a child. She was a freaking child. Well, like they portray her as a child, and she's like, I'm going to just be me because I got here being me, and can I have a hug now, Corey? And it was just like so flipping weird. And it's just like, what was that for? What was the purpose of any of that? If you weren't going to pay it off, at least with Bayley swinging and hitting her with the kendo stick, you should have paid it off with the title, but you did neither, and now Bayley's just looks like a chump.
Yeah,
it's completely.
It made weak sauce for Bayley altogether.
It may have
altogether.
irreparably have destroyed her.
And this
character.
was it. And we're going to go into the future just a little bit. They continued that BS even with the future episodes of Raw after that, from our recording today. So I really don't know what they're doing with Bayley, but for God damn it, they need to do something if they want to bring the all-American hero-esque attitude of Bayley approachable in the WWE. I don't know. All I know is that it happened, and I don't even know why it happened. When it comes to the rules,
it was such a god awful match, and I was
This is just even the next match we're about to talk about is still in the air for me too.
It was bar none the best match on the card, I feel, and then we are of course talking about Shame Sorrow versus the Hardys. When the Hardys, for reasons that are unbeknownst to us, got to pick the stipulation, and it was a cage match. Now they explained very clearly what the freaking rules were. There was no pinfall, no disqualification. Both members of the team had to get out and land on the floor with 2 feet. And that was the story of the match. And that within itself was just fine. But then they kept pointing out, it's like, well, Jeff at one point got out. And he was just by himself. And then, like, the announcers were like, oh, yay, the Hardys are half there. And we're sitting there just like, this is stupid. Now it's 2-on-1 on Matt. You know, obviously they're building up. But then they didn't make clear as to whether or not he could, what happened, you know, they just kind of decided, like, the announcers were just like, oh, he climbed back in. That means he has to get back out again. Okay. It was the announcers did such a disjointed job of telling us telling us the parameters of this match, which, you know, it was a decent match. It was a decently put together match for a cage match, but that whole no pinfall, no submission, you have to get out thing kind of made things weird. The referees were a little weird about it. You know, the ending coming with...
Well, it kills me that they have that MacGuffin for cage matches, and that is you can walk out the frickin' door. That should be eliminated completely, because here's the stipulation from that. Okay, so Jeff gets out. Now it's Sheamus, Cesaro, and Matt. Of course, they're going to take a little bit of advantage of the two-man setup. However, at one point, Cesaro was, I guess, hazy from a thing that Matt Hardy did, and Sheamus was about to leave by the door. And Matt Hardy pulls him back in and does what he has to do. Now, logically, and this is logic, this is obviously not the truth behind how WWE rules it, but if I was Matt Hardy, I would just let Sheamus walk out, and as soon as Sheamus was walking out, I'd just walk out right fucking behind him and won the damn match for the Hardys.
There was a lot of that going on. There was a lot of that pulling people back in. Don't pull people back in. Pull one person, let one person out. Keep one person in, beat the crap out of them, and then both of you walk out of the front door. But, I mean, the ending was all right. The story of it was Jeff had to come back in to make the save. He did a whisper in the wind off the top of the cage and knocked himself out. Matt was trying to drag him out of the door, and Shinzaro climbs over the cage, drops to the floor just before the Hardys could. Your winners and new tag team champions of the world, setting the bar for everyone, Shinzaro. Mecha Shiva, activate.
Shinzaro.
Sheamus and Cesaro.
God, I missed that.
But again, and we come to yet another match that should have been, you know, should have been fantastic. But once again, they couldn't keep their fucking rules straight. And we are, of course, talking about the king of the cruiserweights, Neville, versus Double A again. But this time in a cruiserweight submission match. It was Devil's Rings of Saturn versus whatever Double A calls his. What does he call his?
Oh thing? Man, you just called me out on it. And I just had it in my head. Last Chancery.
Last Chancery. And here's again the problem. Being as we are, longtime people who've watched WWE for years and years and years and years. Tell me, Kane, what are the rules of a submission match?
Oh, you get submission and you got to tap out and lose?
Exactly. That's the only rule. That's the only rule. That's the only goddamn rule. And that bullshit.
I guess there's still falls count anywhere in a submissions match. I don't know.
That's bullshit. That is utter bullshit. Falls count anywhere because all you have to do is submit. There's no rope breaks. There's no anything. But they couldn't keep it straight. And the worst part about it was the announcers didn't even know what to do with this. The announcers were just like... Which, by the way, David Otunga was on the pre-show, and he's gotten no better.
I think he's gone. I think they realize and go, hey, Booker T, do you like money? And you're like, yeah, brother, I like money. So does that mean you want to be an announcer instead of David Otunga? David Otunga don't need that. He's got that.
You know who they really and honestly need to put on there? I love Booker T to death, but they need to just put Graves and Cole on there. Graves is.
I'm all for having finally a goddamn women's announcer. Renee Young deserves it.
Yes, 100% that. Renee deserves. Oh, speaking of announcers, we're gonna have a little sidebar here. Did you hear Mauro Ranallo is back in the WWE NXT, and he's doing NXT? Good for Mauro. Good for Mauro getting away from crazy Vince McMahon yelling in his ear and fucking bullies. He can go and he can do his boxing matches. He can go to NXT and he can call wrestling and have his dream job.
Hashtag fire JBL.
Hashtag fire JBL.
Did he replace anybody, by the way, or he just add on?
What's that?
Did he replace anybody or just an add on?
I don't know. I haven't seen NXT. No. I gave up NXT, remember?
Yeah, you're right, and I've not been a good boy with that either. But you know what? In my defense, a lot of people are actually thinking that way too, because right now the product is not as up to par ever since they lost a lot of the good draft people up to the main roster.
Gee, I wonder if that has something to do with having the same having the same 4 people holding their fucking championships for 9 fucking months.
Or every pay-per-view also having practically the same goddamn card.
That as well. But we digress. So basically, after a really hard-fought match, and it was a really damn good match. It's what you expect out of these two. It's the same. It's a match that they've been doing with a lot less of the flying stuff and more ground and pound kind of offense. It was really very impressive. But A-double gets the last chancery on the outside. Or no, on the inside, Neville pulls himself out and he gets it back on.
They did this really cool thing where he had him in the last chancery, but Neville was tumbling him out of the way. They tumble both at the same time outside the ring while he's still holding the last chancery, and he has him on the floor with the last chancery, and he taps. Neville fucking taps, and this is where we don't. This is where any rules, instead of calling extreme rules, it's any rules. Please give me some rules. That is the rules pay-per-view main event. That is what this is, and yes, this is exactly what happened. He taps out. Where on the paperwork does it say that the submission match has to be inside the ring? I like to know where that distinguishment was. I mean, I have to really think very hard. Was there ever a submissions match where where someone tapped out outside and they took that as an answer? I feel like there was a Benoit match that happened that's where
the ultimate submission match between Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle. One or two of the falls happened outside, I believe.
It had to be.
It's the best submission match ever. It's one of my favorite matches, and it's lost to the annals because of He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah, you can still look for it. You just can't look by his name.
Yeah, you've got to know where to find it on the network to get it. But at any rate, so
they don't deny Benoit's matches. They just deny him searching for him.
Neville threw A-double into a post, into the ring, red arrow on Neville's back, straight into the rings of Saturn, and A-double could do nothing but tap. Your winner, still King of the Cruiserweights, and the Cruiserweight Champion, Neville. Which brings us to, man, this hasn't taken us long, has it, guys? But it takes us to the main event. And the main event, of course, is not a world title match. It's not a universal title match either. Because Brock doesn't work these other pay-per-views, apparently. We have not seen... so this is 2 pay-per-views in a row. 2 pay-per-views in a row. The universal title was not defended.
Well, you predicted this when he won it at Mania, by the way.
I did. And
but you were off by 1 pay-per-view, though. That was it.
Yeah, I said he wasn't going to come back till SummerSlam, but apparently not. Maybe, once again, hey guys, your ratings on Raw keep slipping. Maybe that is one of the reasons why.
Well, actually, I don't know about that right now because that whole Samoa Joe angle, that was sick last week.
Oh, yeah, that was. And we'll talk about that in a second. But we are, of course, talking about the number one contenders match to face Brock Lesnar at the stupidly named Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
God.
Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns.
My brain, what? You know what?
You're going to have to take over. That took the wind out of me, man. Hold on.
This is where Money in the Bank and Extreme Rules share one redeeming quality, and that is that they know how to do stuff with the main roster top dogs in a match. More than involves more than two people. This
legitimately felt like five guys, any of whom could have won. This was the only match I felt like anyone could have done it.
There was speculation of Sami Zayn. There was speculation then of Roman because he's Vince's lapdog now and all that kind of stuff.
Sami Zayn's on the other brand. Do you
You're
mean
right.
Finn Balor?
Yeah, hold on. I haven't done this in a while. Jackie, get them, Mick Foley. All right. Yeah, you're right. There we go. Okay, yeah.
So,
yeah, it was my bad. Sami Zayn is on SmackDown. I felt that way with Money in the Bank too. That was another thing.
Yeah. They were never going to give it to Sami.
There were some really good close moments there. There were some really moments. I'm glad they gave.
We'll get to that.
But
needless to say, it wasn't Sami.
Who the hell expected Samoa Joe?
Senor Joe. The numbers don't lie, and it spells disaster and sacrifice.
He had the meats.
Some of you get that.
Right
somebody call Arby's. Samoa Joe got the meats. I mean, this was a great match. The story of the match was, throughout most of it, Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt held a tenuous alliance that you knew was going to fall apart. And they were beating the crap out of everyone. They beat the crap out of Roman something fierce at one point. And he was just off camera for a good portion of it. It was mostly Seth and Finn versus the Arby's duo. And they went back and forth until eventually Seth and Finn went at it because obviously Seth was the reason that Finn was on this table.
Yes.
For so long, and they've been building up a little friendly rivalry between the two. And then that turned into, Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt taking over again. Eventually, when Seth was rallying, Bray threw Samoa Joe right into the way of a diving Seth Rollins, and everything broke down from there. And then, of course, everyone had to make Roman look strong.
Make me look strong.
And but in the end, did he get it with the Cohita clutch?
No, it was a pin. Surprise.
Oh, he got a surprise roll up on, I believe it was Bray Wyatt, because why not? And your winner and number one contender for Great Balls of Fire, Samoa Joe.
Goodness gracious.
And he has taken this ball, and we're actually, I'm not going to talk about this now. This is going to come at the very end of the podcast because we're going to talk about something at the end of the podcast. But all I want to say for now is that since the pay-per-view, Joe has taken the ball and run with it.
Oh, yeah, he is goddamn hot right now when it comes to the heat that he's putting out there for a heel. I have to say, though, this was probably I feel like the saving grace to my letter grading was the fact that they gave Samoa Joe the win. If they gave Roman, holy hell, I would have had a horrible, horrible worse letter grade.
Yeah, I feel the same way. But then again,
I gave everybody a letter grade bonus if they based on who won. Like Roman was the F. If he won, I would have given the whole thing an F. If Bray Wyatt won, I would have been a D.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, that was Extreme Rules, and what was your letter grade?
It was a B- because that pull out of Samoa Joe was my last. I was not going to give this thing an A, and I was not going to go anything above a B. B- was the starter, and I just went 5 grades down for each one because Samoa Joe was on the top of my list of if he actually won, I would give that the highest grade I would ever give it, and that's a B-.
I gave it a C plus. Here's why. And you know, I mean, you had one really great match. You had the main event, which delivered and surprisingly delivered. You had the Intercontinental Championship match, which was trickery, but still satisfying, and then everything else was garbage. And when more than half of your matches are garbage, I can barely justify giving you an above-average grade. So you are...
But that's the thing. Extreme Rules had not a single hardcore match.
No, there was nothing extreme about it, and if you're and that plays into it as well. If you're going to have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, you better have an Extreme Rules match somewhere in there.
Damn right.
But you didn't. A Fatal 5-Way does not count. A submission match does not count. A cage match does not count. A stick on a pole match does not count.
A table was not broken.
Rich Swann
chair was not swung.
Rich Swann does not used.
No hard. No,
so you gave it a B plus or B?
B minus.
B minus. I gave it a C plus.
We're not too. We're on the same scope.
We're right about on the same show.
We're one grade off of each other. That's it.
But
if Bray Wyatt won, it would have been a C plus. Just letting you know.
I think it would have been a C plus as long as anyone but Roman won, because I can't overcome like the rest of the card for the main event. The main event.
For you too, or
I would have brought it down to a D. No, it takes a lot for me to fail something. It takes a whole lot for me to fail something.
This whole thing paled me off, and if Roman iced the cake on that one, it would have been a shit cake, and I would have said F. You have to piss me off something fierce to get a failing grade. Is Women's Money in the Bank level pissed?
I guess we're going to find out, because after the break, we are going to be talking about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and we're going to also talk about the WWE and their recent trend of wasting WrestleMania main events. And we will see you after the break.
See you soon, folks.
On behalf of Kane Snuka and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank All Around the Beats for our opening theme, Destruction. We would also like to thank Michet for our closing theme, Picnic at the Reactor. And today, we have a mashup of two of our favorite wrestlers, and quite frankly, they may be the saving grace of the cruiserweights if WWE ever decides to actually invest something into 205 Live. It's Johnny Gargano versus TJ Perkins. Power from the Heart. Enjoy. Welcome back. I'm your boy, Coming the Faded Saint. That is my boy, Kane Super What Snooker. And today's show is brought to you by the Kevin Owens story, which from what little stills I've seen of the behind the scenes of him trying to start off the beginning of the DVD and his daughter throwing a hissy fit because she's coughing and making sounds during it, proving once again that Kevin Owens may be a prize fighter and a prize champion, but at home he's just dad. It is also brought to you today by L'Oreal's favorite wrestler, Chris Jericho, and his band Fozzy. Coming to a city near you. Check out Fozzy live, in concert, scarves, a light, and everything.
Congratulations to Loy for also winning backstage tickets to go see Chris Jericho in person when he comes to the town.
The Band of Jericho. Listen into it, man.
She's so going to kill us one day.
She is. She's swole, too. You've seen her on Facebook.
Yes. I said it to you plenty of times. Should we make fun of her?
she's going to punch my head off. It is going to be hilarious. But we're stalling.
Yes.
Is what we're doing.
Yes.
We're stalling so bad.
Out the gate. It's the first goddamn match. All right, premise, people.
So of course we're talking about Money in the Bank.
Premise time. Premise time. All right, so we all know that one of the biggest things that could ever happen in WWE history is having women doing an equal shot at a really good opportunity for Money in the Bank. So it wasn't just no normal match. It was the women's very first inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match. It was salivating. Hell, even the promo before the match was
so good, wasn't it?
Good. It
was
hyped so amazing. The revolutionary changes, the passing of the torch on one of the three most iconic, legendary people, giving it over to the three legendary daughters of those legendary icons. Frickin' Charlotte is a legend already without even being a legend.
Well, before we get too far into it, we do have a pre-cooked match we have to talk about because they did. We have to. They announced it. Let's.
I'm gonna give you 10 seconds on the card. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds on the screen. You got 10 seconds to talk about this pre-cook. Ready?
Okay.
And go.
All right, real quickly, it was the Hype Brothers versus the Clones. By the way, Mojo, we know you lied to Vest. You met Vest at a Jimmy John's and you told him Zach was coming back, but you lied to him. You knew he was coming back at SmackDown when we went to go see it. You knew it, Mojo. I know that you're a liar. You know that you're a liar. We know you're a liar. You're a liar, Mojo. You lied to Vest. You lied to a friend of this show, and you are no friend of ours. Hype Bros win. Screw the Clones, I guess.
Okay, I'm not going to count the little twitch that you just had between that. It was 10 seconds when it comes to describing the match.
Okay.
Getting back to the business.
So now we move on, of course, to the women's Money in the Bank.
Legendary.
Sorry. In keeping with our rules, if they announce it, we cover it, no matter how minute. So that was the pre-cook, and of course the first match, like he said, out of the gate, was the women's Money in the Bank match. It was Tamina Snuka versus Natty Neidhart, Mrs. Faded Saint, for those of you keeping track at home, Charlotte Flair, Carmella with James Ellsworth, and Becky Lynch. And like you said, everything that you said was absolutely 100% true. The hype was real, y'all.
And the goddamn promo.
Like, I was so excited for this. Like,
tear-jerking.
I was like, it was like, yes, they're finally getting their due. And before any of you newcomers come, we've been complaining about women, the women's division, and how these women can step up and do it for 2 years on this podcast.
Episode 1, we talked about the women's revolution.
We were talking about the women's revolution, and this was the pinnacle. Because while all those other matches are great, this is a staple. This is a big freaking deal, and it should be a big freaking deal. It
should outweigh the Iron Women's matches. They should outweigh the big moves that they tried to do in the last year. This should have been the pinnacle to know, hey, it rose questions. Even rose a question is what happens when the woman does win the title, the Money in the Bank. Does it mean that it has to be just the women's title? There were so many great conversations that kept coming from this. And the match itself. was
great.
ridiculously awesome.
They should have given it more time. They should have given it more time because it ended about 5-10 minutes early.
They definitely gave some good bumps they were scared a little, I guess, because it's the women's match and they don't want to hurt a lot of that situation. But they still had some good bumps.
They did.
But then, and before we get to the whole point of why we're upset about this, I need to apologize to everybody. I need to apologize to everybody right now because I was pro James Ellsworth winning the contract almost for a couple months ago.
It's not James Ellsworth's fault. Hey, James Ellsworth is just a guy who's doing what he's told, and he's not in a position to tell them, no, I think this is a bad idea. So it's not James Ellsworth's fault. He's just doing what he's...
He had the option to leave. If that is the case, he had the option.
Would you leave your dream job? They tell you to go out there, and they lay it out, and your bosses explain to you that this is going to be the best thing ever for you. I don't blame James Ellsworth. I blame the writers. And I'm going to tell you how seriously. You know what? We're about to go back on camera. We're about to go back on camera just to give you the warning. So here we are. We're back on camera. You can see me. So
can you see me?
They can see you too. They can see both of us. This is the strongest beer I could find. And I got it specifically for doing this podcast. This is 8% alcohol by volume. It is Andy Gator. For those of you who are familiar with Andy Gator, you know this is no joke. This thing pissed me off so bad, and we'll go back to the. We'll go back to the.
It was saved. I felt it was saved just a little bit after this, but cat's out of the bag, folks. How this ended is that we had.
It's up on the up on the screen right now.
Inches away from it, and James fucking Ellsworth, who I guess I have to believe whatever you're saying right there, saying he had to do what he had to do. He nudges the Becky Lynch off the ladder, and he climbs, and we're like, what's going on? He's climbing. What's going? And he was trying to convince Carmella to climb up there with him. Just go, and I guess something, I don't know. I guess it was either part of the writing or Carmella fucked up or something. I don't know. But if James improvised,
it was clearly planned because right now you guys are seeing the moment we're talking about on the screen. And let me preface this that I could not find this picture anywhere on WWE.com or published anywhere. I had to go back before the program today when we recorded, and I had to rewatch the match so that I could get this picture of James Ellsworth pulling it. And so I saw he acted all of it out. He didn't just decide to do that. That was planned. He sat there and he was like, get up there, get up there, get up there. And then he looked up and it's like, I could get up there. And he goes on up. That is bullshit. The first ever women's champion. Look at that picture I am showing on the screen right now. Look at that picture. The first women's Money in the Bank championship, and it is won by a dude. You got to go.
I honestly couldn't tell you how much more livid I could be at the surprise that happened that way. I mean, you got to look at it this way. I was one of the biggest advocates for the women's revolution. I was always on Sasha Banks' side. I loved Charlotte when she did her things, her heel moments, her great actions, all these great things. And they gave this golden ticket to these amazing women. And all of them are amazing. Even if they don't show how amazing they are amazing. Carmella is amazing. Charlotte is amazing. Becky Lynch is amazing. Frick. Natty, everybody. It's just Tamina. There's so many things. Tamina people who did very good in her starting careers in here, got pretty much backwashed. Had to deal with some serious family issues
and injuries.
Came back still and did a fantastic match. They all took great bumps, not as extreme as a lot of that happened in the men's Money in the Bank, but they still took some bumps that were pretty damn inaugural for this damn thing. And someone in the back got shit pissed scared to go, I guess we don't need a woman's to win this. We need someone else more important than that. And boom.
Now,
give it the opportunity for James Ellsworth, a man, to climb the ladder, grab it, and not even like do anything cool with it. Drops it in the hands of Carmella, who's right on the bottom of the fucking ladder.
Now, let me preface this. Let me back up for a second, because clearly we are pissed. If this had been the ending to the third annual Women's Money in the Bank, the second annual Women's Money in the Bank, I'd be fine with that. That's actually a pretty creative freaking deal there. But not the first one. Not the first one. Not the way you hyped this up as historic. And I don't know, man. Like, this just set the shit tone for the entire rest of the pay-per-view. And Carmella, by hook or by crook, won the match. Now they reversed it on SmackDown the next day, or the Tuesday after.
Yeah.
But you can't. But I mean, let's be honest here. They had to have thought that was going to be a clever ending, and they did. They reversed it because they did not expect how awful.
Backlash. They still don't have this. It just proves they don't have the same confidence that they were trying to say they had for the women's division entirely. This is
the stronger women's division.
I would have been completely smitten and okay with James Ellsworth nudging Becky Lynch off and then Carmella going up and getting the title.
Yeah.
I would have been like, that's great. A great idea. We're about to rewatch the Money in the Bank women's ladder match because of this mistake.
Yeah, which is just a freaking ratings ploy. But you know what? Like, we got to get to the rest of the pay-per-view. Otherwise, we're going to rant straight through SmackDown.
Exactly.
And of course, it got no better after this did it. And of course, we're talking about the Usos versus the New Day. Which, by the way, I did go to SmackDown before Money in the Bank with Vest and Mims, friends of the show, and the New Day came out in the second line. It was really awesome. They always bring it, but I mean, God damn! First of all, welcome back, Kofi. It was a really great match to watch. Was it Kofi and Xavier, or was it Big E and Xavier who wrestled the match?
Big E and Xavier. Kofi was in the corner.
Right, that's right. But at one point, Kofi did do the trust fall, which was pretty awesome. The Usos, I wasn't sold on the Usos heel turn and the way they were acting, but they're slowly bringing me around to it. I'm slowly digging I'm slowly digging things. And it was a really good match until the Usos just walked out. God damn it.
You know what? If it wasn't such, I guess it's actually a brilliant way to end that match. It is. But it just came after the most awkward bullshit that made it look like dog shit. And that is the Usos DQing themselves out of the match.
Oh my God! And
as a heat that worked so well.
They didn't even DQ themselves. They walked out. They got counted out.
Yeah.
And it was such bullshit, especially right after you just pulled that crap with the women's Money in the Bank. Let me put it to you like this: there was, obviously champs retain on a count out, so you're winners, the New Day. But God damn, pretty much there was a universal feeling going into the next match. And that was, you said it, I said it, when Vest and Mims watched it the day after, because they, of course, another great move on WWE's part, put the pay-per-view on Father's Day. Great job, guys. The next match was Naomi versus Lana. And everyone said, if Lana wins this match, I'm turning this pay-per-view off. You said it. I said, and we love Lana.
I was for Lana. Lana looked hot. My God, that looked hot. But here's the thing that I want to talk about. Not even the fact that first of all, congratulations to Lana for transitioning from cutesy little side thing to wrestling. And even though she's still green, the match was pretty good. She was a technical shooter, and that was so rare to see. She was a good technical shooter. She was going surprisingly good. And she was doing all the good moves, and they were rough fighting too, and that was the good part. Like kicking, like someone tried to grab her in the ring, kicks in the face. There were some rough shots that were going on, and that was great. But I really want to draw back on the fact that Miss Carmella coming out and distracting everybody with that Money in the Bank bang, and almost looked like she was going to put it in, and you thought right then and there that was probably the only redeeming quality is if she submitted that in.
If she had put it in right then, that would have made the pay-per-view a little bit better, because it would have shown that, at least from a character standpoint, Carmella realized she was not keeping that contract through Tuesday, because there was no way they were going to be able to keep it. So as a character, I better use this now while I've got it.
Yeah, exactly.
But she didn't,
and that was no. She decided to do, and even worse is that distraction didn't even do anything for that match, because Lana was like, okay, and she went back beating the hell out of freaking Naomi, and then of course Naomi comes out of nowhere with the submission move that she does, and she wins. That was it.
I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I mean, the logic going into it was stupid.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, I don't get it. Like, Lana, this is really her first singles match ever, and like everyone, like Naomi and Shane McMahon is like, you got to earn your opportunity here. You got to earn your opportunity here. And then Lana's like, yeah, well, I can beat you. And then she's like, all right, well, I'll put the title on the line then. And that hammerlock spine buster that Lana does, very impressive. I like it.
Yeah. Again, she looks like she's gonna be a good technical shooter. The outfit though looks just like what's her name from Mortal Kombat though.
Melina.
Yeah,
Katana. Melina's the weird looking one.
But man, she looks so fine in that. Like fine.
Oh, we are definitely a part of the Lana fan club here. If you ever are perusing our Facebook and you hear, "Oh, hi Lana," you know that Lana just showed up just showed up on the screen wherever we're watching.
But the only thing that kills me, she's got this weird Caribbean music. That's the only thing that's making me. It's the only thing that's weird.
The thing. I mean, again, this wasn't a bad match, but again, throwing Carmella and Ellsworth out there just serves to remind us that we are angry. And here's the thing. This match finished, and we're about an hour and 20 minutes into the pay-per-view. And we've got 3 matches that have been announced left. We're not even halfway through the pay-per-view.
2 technically on the card. The other one was a surprise.
Actually, no, you're right. Yeah, 2. I'm getting my cards mixed up. And of course, the next one was the not even main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Championships. Jinder Mahal with the Singh brothers versus Randall Q. Orton.
Hashtag don't hinder the Jinder.
I need to point out here, Jinder Mahal is the Suicide Squad of World Heavyweight Champions. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. Suicide Squad was a fine movie. Jinder Mahal is a fine WWE championship. He's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's just fine. And this match was a match. That happened.
This is where probably you and I differ.
The legends were more over than the people in the match. They had all of the old AWA peeps in there. Sergeant Slaughter, Ric Flair, Bob Orton.
Are we not going to talk about the fact that Ric Flair wasn't ringside for the women's Money in the Bank ladder of the match?
Yeah. I choose to believe that he heard the ending and he's like, I don't want to be on camera for that. Ric Flair would have killed someone.
Was as useless as tits on a board when the Singh brothers was grabbing them on the side of the ring. I don't know. All I know is that match I have to disagree with. I thought it was an awesome heel match. I'm all for this whole heel agenda that they've been pulling on for a couple of these guys, including Jinder Mahal. we haven't seen a decent minion combo where the bad guy is stronger than the minions. It's usually the other way around. Like look at Seth Rollins when he had J&J Security. Seth Rollins had J&J Security because he was a chicken shit heel. Trying to run away from matches and stuff like that. Ginger's not running away.
You could argue that Seth Rollins, when he had Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns in the Shield as his quote unquote minions, even though they were a faction.
I don't know about that because at least he fought and he was determined in that. He was more, I'm scared to lose my title. Please don't take my title away. Please don't take my title away. Seth Rollins of J&J Security. But I think that Jinder Mahal is actually worthwhile because he's backing up his words. He's not like he's hiding behind these guys. He just knows how to utilize good good side minions. He's fighting his matches, and when he's down and out, he presses his left button with them, and it's actually pretty good. I feel like that's a great angle for him. Especially, I know why they gave him that angle. Obviously, it's political, but it's still it
at least they're sticking with it.
It breathed an opportunity. It breathed an opportunity that actually was deserving. I don't like Randy Orton as a champion anymore. I don't like Randy Orton, period. I think he's very boring. He doesn't, for a guy his age, he should have more fame than he does. I feel like his character is outdated. It's not timeless. Like
what is his character?
I don't know, because Hulk Hogan's timeless to me. Like, Hulk Hogan would come out right the fuck now in the middle of SmackDown, and people would be up in their fucking shanties, roaring and raving about everything that could possibly go about that. And the same thing could happen with Roddy Piper, God rest his soul. Same thing with, almost every good legendary character has that popping, oh my God, it's him. Randy doesn't have that for me. I can't see Randy Orton 10 years down the line when he's retired, coming out as a legend and going, oh, man, it's a great iconic thing. Triple H can. Triple H is a legendary character.
He'll be a legend based on the fact that he's had multiple world title runs, and that's about it.
But that's bullshit because a lot of them multiple title.
I agree.
They're just not good legends to me.
I agree.
But that's my point. Randy doesn't have it for me. But I can tell you this much: Jinder Mahal right now is all up in it, and I cannot approve it any further than he has. He is. I feel like this was great. Example. The problem is it was just muddied by a very shitty run of pay-per-view startups because Extreme Rules didn't work too well.
Nope.
At the beginning of the Money in the Bank definitely set the tone for the shit show that was going on. You could have had, a porno happening in the middle of that ring with hot women and all that kind of stuff, and it wouldn't have given a damn based on the heat that fucking Money in the Bank first match happened.
Oh, and that's not good heat either. But the ending came, of course, when the Singh brothers were thrown out of ringside, and instead of leaving, they decided they were going to assault Bob Orton Jr. It distracted Randy long enough for Jinder Mahal to get his finisher on. I don't know what they're calling it, but
I'm calling it the gender.
the don't hinder the gender, and 1, 2, 3, Jinder Mahal wins the match. Now, you'll have to excuse us here, guys, because SmackDown just started, and we're just kind of trying to make sure that the Women's Money in the Bank match doesn't start everything up. So, but we have one more match to get to. We're going to try and run through the rest of this stuff as we can, not run it through too quickly, but
I have a good feeling this match is not going to happen until the end of the pay-per-view.
This match should be at least the last 30 to 45 minutes of SmackDown.
Yeah.
But of course, we're talking when we're getting to the end of the pay-per-view. There was a match in between this match and the last match. It was not announced. It was Breezango versus the Ascension. Breezango won. You can't be bothered to announce it. We can't be bothered to cover it.
I will rant one thing. Out of all the freaking people they were bringing back, they brought back the Ascension as the people that trashed the office of the Fashion Police. Bullshit.
Could they not have brought in like a new tag team, just like have some kind of
even
surprise?
worse? They didn't do anything after the fact with them on the next SmackDown following. They did nothing.
Nope.
They did nothing. Anyway, But let's talk about what was a very, very good match.
That is, of course, the men's Money in the Bank match. It was Dolph Ziggler versus Sami Zayn versus the face of America, Kevin Owens, versus the internet's favorite Lego man, AJ Styles, versus Aaron Borby or Baron Corbin, take your pick.
Baron Corbin's something better though.
Versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and as Kane can attest, Shinsuke came out, Baron Corbin jumped his ass, and I was livid. I was out of my mind, foaming at the mouth, losing my fucking marbles. What was the exact quote I said? I think it was something along the lines of, if Shinsuke Nakamura does not make it into this match, I swear to almighty God, I am flying to Stamford and I am smacking everyone in Titan Towers.
Everyone?
Everyone. And we won't spoil it just yet, but I mean, I was pissed walking into this match. So pissed. So pissed. And, you know, for the start of the match was really good. It was a lot of Kevin Owens and Sammy, and we know Kevin Owens and Sammy can have a really great match together. Dolph, of course, he is the king of he is the king of losing all of the bones in his lower extremities once he's climbing a ladder. I'm a big Baron Corbin fan now. I really am.
I was always a fan. I was always a fan.
I was not. I thought
for him. You just didn't like it. You just liked he was green. He was rough green.
It wasn't even green. It was because they because the way they booked him, they made him look like a chump. But once he started doing like his own thing on Talking Smack, then they started realizing, oh, hey, this is actually a guy that can talk, and they started booking him right.
I love the I don't care version of him. I feel like that's what Dean Ambrose should have been the whole time.
Oh, did you see the shit that he was talking about the Ball family last night when they were on Raw?
Oh God, let's not talk about the Ball family. You finally got to see it though, right? Remember I sent you that message?
Oh no, I saw it, and then you saw me on Facebook. I'm like, who are these assholes? And then I got the story, and then I'm like, okay.
But even if you didn't know them, my God, that dad was cracked out. He was cracked the fuck out.
Apparently, I don't follow basketball.
I don't either.
But apparently that's like the norm for him. Like apparently, as I understand it, the Baron Corbin. Well, just a quick sidetrack. Baron Corbin, like the Ball family was on there, and somebody put it on Instagram, and then Baron Corbin responded to the WWE's Instagram account. It's like, oh look, it's the guy that cost his kid millions and millions of dollars. And I have friends who explained this to me. Apparently, the father decided that he was going to turn his kid into a brand, and basically cost his kid a Nike shoes contract, which would have been millions and millions of dollars, and probably with his antics, the first pick of the draft. Because he actually normally acts like we saw him on Miz TV last night.
Jesus.
Anyway, so the match goes on. There's a lot of bumps. Like Sammy and Kevin are killing it. Killing it. Kevin Owens died 3 times that match. Kevin Owens died on 3 separate ladders during the course of that match.
She makes a good point, Carmella, right there. Sorry, sidebar, folks.
I'm not listening.
How do you break a rule when there was no rules? She made a good point. But
yeah, keep mouthing off Daniel Bryan like that, Carmella. See how much that works.
You and I have a difference on who the MVP of the night was in that match. You said it was Kevin Owens. And
no.
Sami Zayn?
I did not say
it was AJ Styles.
It was AJ Styles, but we have to get to the day was saved. Even though I'm going to say AJ Styles was the MVP, the day was saved by Shinsuke Nakamura coming back out. And let's be honest here. Me and Kane are gonna wrap with you guys for a second. Let's be honest here. This was in the annals of Money in the Bank ladder matches. This was a solid middle ground. You're only gonna remember this match for one thing, and one thing alone, and that was that look. That look when on the either side of a ladder is the internet's favorite Lego man, AJ Styles, and the man with hammers for knees, the king of strong style, Shinsuke Nakamura. And they're on the opposite sides of the ladder, and they are looking at each other. And you know it's on. And they don't even pretend like they're going to try and go up to the ladder. They just very calmly pick up the ladder, both of them together, walk it over to the side and put it down, and then they go back to the center of the ring. Now, some of you may not have seen Wrestle Kingdom when they faced each other before they both ended up in the WWE. This, wet your whistle, this was the match, because for most of you guys, you didn't even know you wanted AJ versus Shinsuke.
Oh yeah.
And they gave you a taste. They gave you a taste. They were those guys at the freaking Sam's Club, at the freaking Costco on Saturday. They were sitting there as like, oh, you want a little bit of this sausage? You want a little bit of this sausage. You can have a little bit of this sausage, but you know what? If you want more of it, you're going to have to buy the value pack. You're going to have to buy the whole value pack that feeds 20. And that's what they gave you. And they only gave you a little bit. And then finally, Baron Corbin wins the match. But oh my God, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura. Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong?
You gotta read the whole package, but Baron Corbin's gonna win. It was Corbin sausages. That was what you got the whole time. Corbin sausages.
You want it, but you came for the value. You came for the large value pack chicken cutlets that is Baron Corbin, but you want the You want the spicy Italian sausage value pack. That's what you saw, and you were like, "Ooh, this tastes good. I want a little bit of this."
We also discussed how the fact that Baron Corbin, even though he did win, could have won a lot earlier if he didn't get so hufflepuffed of Shinsuke coming back out to the ring. He was right there, and Shinsuke was coming out doing his long noodle dance as he was coming down. And if I was Baron, I'd be like, well, let him do that. I'm just going to climb out right now and take this. Oh, wait, you just danced your way down to losing anyway. Thank you, buddy.
I honestly thought at that point they were going to give it to Sammy or well, I didn't think they were going to give it to Sammy.
Well, that's why I felt Sammy was the MVP. He had great bumps, even though Kevin got the worst bump. Which was Kevin Owens getting some pretty nasty MITB bumps. Remember last year's Money in the Bank? He went his.
Do you remember the Intercontinental title match from WrestleMania 31?
Yes.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in ladder matches are bad news. But I mean, Baron Corbin is your Mr. Money in the Bank. He has a contract that he can use at any time that he wants over the next calendar year. And that was Money in the Bank. Letter grade, my dear friend Kane. I don't know what's going on, so...
Well, I can tell you this much.
What? What can you tell me?
That it's so parallel, the Money in the Bank and Extreme Rules has almost the same answer. Because I had Baron Corbin on the top of my list. If he won, he would have got the best. He would have given the best grade to the match, to the whole thing. But this time, I couldn't let it go past. I couldn't let it go past the C. So if Baron Corbin won, it was a C. Everybody, there was like 3 of them that gave a C-. But of course, if personally, as much as I loved everybody in that match, if AJ Styles would have won that, I would have gave that whole thing an F. But it's a C. It's a C because of Baron Corbin.
All right. What just happened? Did Ellsworth just get fired? Or is he just being escorted from the building?
I think so. I think he's not around for this.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay, so
folks, just a reminder: we watch SmackDown. We record on Tuesdays when we do these things, and SmackDown usually happens during the time when we start recording. It's just good for our business to match up at the same time at a certain day on the certain day of the week.
It's when we can get it done both at the same time.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna have
we're in 2 different states in the United States.
Yes, I'm of course as he mentions at the beginning of the show. I'm talking to you from New Orleans, and he is talking to you from parts unknown, which, as you know, is in the state of confusion.
Yes.
Right next to the state of euphoria, as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hate doing this. I hate this so much, but I need everyone to understand. I don't do this out of malice. I do this because I legitimately care. I care about wrestling. And I want you, and I'm going to put this back up on the screen. This right here, this image right here is what you are going to be, which is basically what you are going to remember of this pay-per-view. That is going to be the iconic image. While we were talking about how good Shinsuke and Shinsuke and AJ was, no one's going to remember that. This image James motherfucking Ellsworth winning the Money in the Bank ladder match for Carmella is going to be the fucking thing that you take away. I had to watch it just to get that image. I will never watch this pay-per-view again. There is no reason. There is not a single thing that is going to entice me to sit through this pay-per-view another time.
Hell, if they ever talk about the first women's match, I bet they're going to talk about the one that happened on frickin' SmackDown.
I will say that you are right. And then the walkout. The standard, but the all right match with Naomi and Landa, the all right match with Jinder and Randy, and the men's Money in the Bank match, plus fucking an unscheduled tag team match with Breezango that was just the Ascension, who you still haven't figured out how to make a thing. I'm sorry. I hate to do this. It breaks my heart to do this, but I cannot, of good faith, say that this is a pay-per-view that I in any way would ever endorse. I cannot say that this is a pay-per-view that I would ever say had any redeeming quality for everything that they did, for the hype that they built up. I was in the freaking arena, SmackDown, when they were running that package, when I was watching the women, you build up to the go-home show before the pay-per-view and seeing everything that they were in. Me and Best and Mims and even a couple of other friends, Untested Methods and his wife were at that SmackDown as well. Watching that, looking at that and saying, oh my God, this is going to be fucking boss. This is going to be fucking the best ever. They're going to work their ass off, and this is probably going to be the best Money in the Bank match. And give me this picture that you're looking at right here. I can give this pay-per-view nothing higher than an F. This is a failure of a pay-per-view on every single possible way. It is not redeemable. There is no part of this pay-per-view that you should ever watch again. And if you haven't watched it, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I don't think I can give it an F, though. I told you the C because I feel like there were some redeeming qualities. If I had to go by your standards, I would have to say Extreme Rules was the F for me then, because that was not extreme. None of it.
You know, but in both of them, neither of them tried to put something up as a historic match, as a historic, first in a lifetime, once in a lifetime, first historic match. And again,
I'm still baffled that Money in the Bank was a goddamn exclusive, and not
Money in the Bank should be elevated to main pay-per-view status. It should. Or if you don't want to get rid of if you don't want to not have just 4 big pay-per-views a year, get rid of Survivor Series, because Money in the Bank is more relevant than Survivor Series is. It is. I'm sorry, but I can't. This is the first time I've ever given a pay-per-view just a flat-out failing grade. Money in the Bank is a failure. You should not watch it. Don't watch it. It will break your heart into a million pieces. Because it could have been, just for what it could have been so good. It could have been so fucking good. And it didn't take much to change it. All it took was one person not being involved in the match. And that's it. But we do have one other thing to talk about before we go. Another trend, which is really starting to tick the shit out of me. And that is wasting WrestleMania main events on your stupid off-brand pay-per-views. And of course, as we were alluding to in the last pay-per-view, we are talking about... Nope, that's the wrong graphic. There's the graphic. We're talking, of course, the main event of Great Balls of Fire is the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe. And my jaw dropped when I realized that this was going to be the main event of Great Balls of Fire. Because A, that's a stupid name for a pay-per-view, and it is a stupid pay-per-view. That should not exist.
Goodness gracious.
This could be a WrestleMania main event. And I don't mean a WrestleMania main event as... I don't mean like a WrestleMania main event as in it could be on the show. I mean, this could be the last match on WrestleMania. It really could. and they are wasting it on this stupid off-brand fucking thing. And I don't understand it. I don't fucking for the life of me understand how you could throw money away. At the very least, make this the fucking main event of SummerSlam.
Is this WCW equivalent of having Hulk Hogan defend the belt against Goldberg on a Nitro as opposed to Raven?
It is. It really is. I don't fucking understand this. And the build up to this match has been so good. Oh my God, Samoa Joe is the man. Like we make the joke around here so because another friend of the show, Badger-tastic, I had her do a commission. And I had her do a commission of Samoa Joe eating a sandwich because I once read a thread that Samoa Joe's theme song sounds like the theme music sounds like the Arby's theme song. And so the joke is Samoa Joe has the meats. But you want to know what?
The same horn.
No joke. Samoa Joe has the meats. Samoa Joe has the meats to make this fucking throwaway match look interesting. Like, he choked out Paul Heyman. He choked out fucking Brock Lesnar last night. The way he carries himself, the way he does this, the man is the main eventer.
I think my favorite part was the first time he did it with Paul Heyman, where he takes the mic away and we're just listening only to the camera mic that is on that guy. He's like, listen, this is nothing against you. This is my message. I want you to explain how this feels. Yeah, I want you to. You're gonna realize you're not gonna be able to breathe, and you're gonna black. Like, he was so calm. He felt like some murderous villain. It didn't
even feel like a murderous villain. He almost felt like a hitman from a late '90s, early 2000s movie where he's just calm as hell. It's like, look, I'm gonna kill you. It's nothing to panic about. This is just the way it's going to be. I'm going to fire at you. You're going to feel a slight little twinge. You're going to feel wetness, and you're going to start dying, and you're going to get a little cold, but that's fine. You're going to die, but just be calm about it. I mean, it was done so well, and they are doing so much to build this up, and it is a damn fine match that I'm looking forward to. But I can't help but think this should be the SummerSlam main event. This should be the WrestleMania main event. And am I wrong? Am I wrong to feel like this is wasted on the stupid gimmick like Jerry Lewis song pay-per-view? Like, this is the pay-per-view that, like, when they asked AJ Styles what he thought of a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire, like, at first he did not believe the interviewer that this was an actual pay-per-view. And then after he confirmed that it was a pay-per-view, the next thing that AJ Styles said is there going to be a bunch of pianos there. It's so fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. But I mean, am I wrong to feel that this is that this is wasted on this stupid pay-per-view?
No, I mean, I really hope that they do AJ Styles and Shinsuke at SummerSlam and not some off-shot pay-per-view either.
Yeah, and that brings me to the other thing, which now you're looking at a graphic of AJ and Shinsuke, which I forgot to put up during the when we were talking about the moment. But I mean, right here, here's the moment. Is this the main event of Battleground or the semi-main event of Battleground? Because I'll tell you what, nothing Gender's going to do is going to surpass the hype of this match if they put it on Battleground. They better not put it on Battleground, or they're just a deep six the world title.
I don't know.
I mean, why do this? I can't abide by this.
I
know you. Matches like this, dream matches like this.
All I know is that Samoa Joe just looks so good right now. He choked out Brock Lesnar.
and I know.
Talk about making Roman strong. Samoa Joe looks like a goddamn god right now.
Can we just really quickly say that, I love how Braun Strowman has tamed ambulances to do his bidding now.
Oh, that was hilarious. By the way, that alone, and that, all right, there was a main event of Raw a week ago where Roman said, I'm going to go for the SummerSlam against the next number one contender for the World title, Universal title.
Oh, God, that pissed me off.
Roman Reigns, and I'm a man whore for Vince McMahon. That's pretty much what I heard. Samoa Joe comes out and says, well, you didn't beat me, and I know I can kill you. And I'm like, yes, you're right. And then they go, okay, let's have a match. We have a match. And in the middle of the freaking match.
No. Let's not skip over the best part about it. It was when Roman sat there. It's like, you know what? I'm agree with Paul Heyman. You're not Samoa Joe. To me, you're just going to be Joe. And then Joe slapped the taste out of his mouth.
Yeah. Joe does not know how to tolerate, so he definitely swung some hips.
No, and I was agreeing with Joe.
That was the best man. Oh my God! The moment we heard the ambulance, I'm like, "What in God's green earth is going on?" And they go,
"Oh, you knew it was coming."
Ambulance? You know what this means? And I said, "Praise you, mighty Lord, the Lord and Savior, Braun is our God." And he pops out. The best part about the pop out was I squealed like a girl when he popped out and went, "Braun!" I was like, "Ah!" Because it was like I just felt this. It was one of those great moments because it was like, yay! Braun is back and he's better than ever for Christmas this year. My Braun is here because he was so good. He was so. Oh,
I have bested the ambulance. Now it does my bidding.
I don't even care the ambulance. It was just. He is so good.
And then he is
definitive. Like if I could explain, remember when Bray Wyatt was versing Roman Reigns and he had that thing on on Roman by saying "anybody but you, Roman, anybody but you." I feel like that was Bray Wyatt enchanting Braun Strowman to come out of the swamps to join the Wyatt family so he can breathe more of that omen into him so that way when he did verse Roman, he could literally make Roman look like shit. Oh my God, Braun is so the answer I wanted forever now, and he is back. Oh my God, he is back. I love him so much. He is my God. He is the God of gods. He is not the monster man among men. He is the God among men because he is so soaring so high. The heat that he provides and the persona he provides, he is so over. They did him so well with the brand split. Day one of Raw's brand split, they made him ready. They got him to the point. And man, he is the answer. I feel like that's the answer to everything. We can't beat Brock Lesnar. Send in Braun. We can't do anything about Roman. Send in Braun. We need someone to cut the cake around. Send in Braun. We need someone to do something that involves the Enzo and Cass breakup and then show some shittiness. Bring in Braun.
Send Braun.
This is just, I feel like that's the answer to all things. That is the new 42. That is the answer to life. Braun Strowman.
Real quickly, I would like to point out, I've been saying for months that Cass needs to dump Enzo. Cass is 100% right. Enzo was the albatross around his neck. Bada boom. Realest jobber in the room. Now go to 205 where you belong, Enzo. But anyway, wow, I brought that down, didn't I?
He definitely took the piss out of my whole Braun Strowman is God rant, I'll tell you that.
Oh, no, Braun Strowman is God, but when you mentioned like the whole Enzo and Cass thing, I had to sit there and say, oh, look, the New Day just show up. Okay,
all right, I think we made our point here, folks.
Yeah, we made our point, and we would like to also, since we're getting to the end here, let's go ahead and we would like to thank, once again, All Around the Beats for our opening theme, Destruction. We would like to thank Mitchett for our closing theme, Picnic in the Reactor. We'd like to thank Mr. Mashup today for our interlude. And if you would like to get in contact with us, I am at Faded Saint on the Twitter. You can also find me at commysite.tumblr.com. Feel free to ask me a question anonymously or not anonymously, either or. We have a Discord. Server. Feel free to drop in at any time. Ask me a question. I'm usually there all the time, every time. And God damn it, we still have 2 more fucking pay-per-views, don't we, before we get to SummerSlam? There are too many fucking pay-per-views, dude. Too many pay-per-views.
Well, I'm looking forward to, goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got to burn a WrestleMania freaking main event in order to make it interesting. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. And I guess the next time you'll talk to us, it's going to be another heads up challenge. It's going to be Great Balls of Fire versus Battleground. At any rate, I am your boy, Common the Faded Saint. That is my boy, Kane Super. What? Snooker Sane. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Later, folks!